derogatory remark about race or faith or religion, he did not sit quietly. Bill's finest accomplishment, and I agree, begins with having raised 3 warm and kind and compassionate sons. Each of his grandchildren, Hannah and Emil, Noah, Adina, Amanda, Justin, Haley, Mackenzie, Alexis, Jacob, Jessica. You told me about the role he played in your lives. For some of you, he would approach you as a little children, and he would speak to you in a loud voice, and you would be terrified. Your grandfather would ask, "How are you doing in school?" He was interested in your grades. He wanted to know what you were working on. Were you working hard? What were your plans? We talked about that camera collection that he housed. He wouldn't give you the key to go in. He kept the code a secret. He enjoyed taking pictures. It was suggested, however, that he was not a great photographer. He could take every camera apart. He enjoyed knowing how things worked. Later in life, moving from the house, he was selling the cameras online. You helped him and could not believe how many there were, often 20 of the same camera, which made for better sales in the passage of time. Although he would often watch NCIS with you, you would often see him watching his favorite History Channel. I want you to know that we spoke often about your lives, where you were, what you were doing, what you were accomplishing. He was proud of your accomplishments. At the beginning of this month, the family gathered to celebrate as we blessed his granddaughter from Sweden and her fiancé. They will soon be married in Sweden, but understanding that time was limited, how happy we were when both Audrey and Bill walked in the door and we were able to celebrate their love. It made it a wonderful evening. There's a portion of the eulogy for Bill Farber that I was able to write from personal experience. I've known Bill and Audrey for many years. I recall the miracle mission when they were assigned as bus captains on one of our Temple Israel buses. A true lover of Israel. Having visited many times, they were determined that everyone on their bus was going to have the best time of all of the people who were in Israel on that trip. And it took Bill with his humor and Audrey with her warmth. Every day was amazing. Moving forward several years, I was having lunch with Bill when he asked me the following question: do you know anything about Akiva? My answer was no. And then I faithfully added, but I can find out. This began our philanthropic journey. Bill was constantly asking questions, interested in detail, pointing us in new directions. We spent hours at lunch beginning to develop a philanthropic philosophy and direction. The intention was to make transformational gifts to change organizations that had demonstrated vision and now needed financial resources. The second, I would suggest, even more important focus for Bill was to involve his family in his and now their philanthropy. For several years now, we've had monthly meetings, Bill at the table with us. It was truly incredible. We had deep discussions as new projects were introduced. Bill's most important philanthropic legacy is the fact that the Farber family will continue to make a difference. There were so many stories. It was on this bema that hundreds of preschool children sang to the Farber family, thanking them for an endowment that would make it possible for every child, no matter what the financial resources of the family, would be able to have a preschool education. After making this generous donation, Bill, with a twinkle in his eye, loved telling me that he was prepared to give 50% more if we had only asked. When you leave this building, if you turn down Drake Road, you'll see the Farber Soul Center, a place where young adults develop their artistic talents and gain skills that will help them find jobs. It became Bill's favorite place for lunch, and they even have a special Bill's Blints that they're giving out today in his honor. He ate more Blintzes there than anybody. Continue west to Hillel Day School, and you'll see the physical transformation of a building that has changed the way continue east. That has changed the way Jewish and secular education is being provided. This summer, visit Camp Tamarack and know that the creative staff is finally housed in appropriate accommodations, or look at the piece of property that's going to become an unbelievable farm. Visit the Farber Pharmacy at the Bernstein Clinic in Pontiac, a place where so many of those who need medical care are given it with love without any charges. Starfish, where early childhood is being directed to children in the city. Go into the homes of children here and around the world and see the books of PJ Library. It was the meeting in this temple of Harold Grinspoon and Bill Farber, an incredible moment. He's the founder, two elderly men who are so committed to making the world different and touching the lives of children. The Farber Foundation is providing transportation in Detroit through Save Charities for after-school programs and helping the Empowerment Plan, helping people create coats that will keep those who are cold during the day transformed into a sleeping bag at night, and employing individuals who have no ability to find work. Or visit and hear the speakers of the Farber Chair of Holocaust Studies at MSU, filled now by an outstanding professor. University Hillel strengthened. On your next visit to Israel, stop at Kfar Hasidim and see the science classrooms and the new high-tech garage that will be finished in September. This project started with Bill's desire to remember his dear friend, David Hermel, in a blessed memory. When Doreen and Nancy met and became friends, an amazing project was funded. It has now expanded through other gifts into a Detroit philanthropic endeavor. Visit the Army base, where through Friends of IDF, soldiers who have completed their armed services but never had the opportunity to gain a high school education are able to leave with a diploma and have the possibility of creating life. Follow the work of the Israel Religious Action Center and the Women of the Wall, working to enable Israel to live by its highest values. It is impossible to list the many areas where the Farber Foundation has been engaged. Soon, with the help of Sarai, our Director of Philanthropy, you'll be able to visit a website that will go into greater detail. It is important for us to go back to the initial conversation. The first project was Akiva. A Reform rabbi walked into a modern Orthodox yeshiva. It sounds like the beginning of a terrific joke. The school had a plan to redo a section of the school with no idea how they would raise the funds. I often said, if this were biblical or prophetic times, we would say that Bill and God sent me. The project went through a series of changes with the support of the Farber Foundation and additional philanthropic partners. What was intended to become a Band-Aid on an old synagogue was transformed into the building of the Farber Hebrew Day School. An article appeared in the Jewish News a few weeks ago. I was lying next to Bill and I showed him the article, and he saw pictures of children at the school. And he said, I want to see the kids. It was not about visiting the building. He needed to see the kids his philanthropy was impacting. Bill was really weak. His family, in an instant, made the arrangements, and for 10 minutes, a few days before he was unable to move, he visited the school that had begun his philanthropic journey. Bill and Audrey had always been involved in giving to the community. He had been a man who measured success by how much he could earn. And now, having attained financial success, he found real joy in giving it all away. These last years have been the best years in Bill Farber's life. He knew that. His family knew that. And working with him, I knew that. With all of his medical challenges, Bill was amazing. Now, Bill and Audrey's generosity and the generosity of their children will continue to impact so many. Bill's main focus was Jewish education. Bill loved nothing more than the idea of matching funds, encouraging and finding partners. Bill believed it was important for major funders to work together. He was grateful for the help and support the Federation offered on his journey. For Bill and Audrey, it was always about the kids. It was not about how they prayed, what synagogue or temple they attended. Their philanthropy touched every stream in Jewish life. The focus was about expanding opportunities, creating improved environments. There's so much we can all learn from Bill. So many lives changed, so many children cared for with so much love. Bill and Audrey, through personal experience, saw the needs in the elder community and generously responded. The family is so very grateful for the support of Jewish Hospice and Chaplaincy Network and their Lifelinks program. You were there for Bill. You worked with Bill's friend, his incredible caregiver, Anne, her family, her team, to provide support as the end of life approached. During these last weeks, I often spoke with Bill about the many mitzvot, deeds of love and kindness that would precede him on his journey to eternity. I let him know how much he meant to me personally, how working with him made these last years so incredibly meaningful. One final comment. If you call Bill, he never said goodbye. He simply hung up when the conversation ended. At a meeting, even if he was leading the meeting, when bored, he would leave the room. Some things never changed. He once suggested, and I'd like to take this to heart and suggest every community leader who is here today consider this idea. If there were no cheers at a board meeting, everything could be accomplished in 15 minutes. He had one other trick. On his desk, there was a tiny phone. It was a prized possession. When he decided it was time to get off a call, he would let you hear it ring. Implying there was another call and he had to move on. Okay, Bill, by now I know you would say to me, enough. Let's ring his phone. Let's celebrate his incredible legacy. And let us, with a great deal of love and respect, say goodbye. It is in that spirit that I ask each one of us to rise for the traditional concluding prayers.